shepherd revolution. Shepherd, 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 shepherd revolution. Shepherd, 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 shepherd revolution. Shepherd, 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 shepherd revolution. Shepherd revolution.
Thank you. Hey, it's David, and welcome to the Leadership Revolution podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the law of activity. I promise you to bring practical value that you can actually start using today as an educator, as a parent, and most importantly, as a leader. We are continuing our series. Can you say it with me? Teaching to Change Lives. Let's go. We're on episode number 3. 2 or 3? We're on episode number 3. And last episode, we talked about the law of education. And the law of education, we went through the 4 stages of the learner's process. And if you haven't listened to that show yet, as soon as you're done with this one, go listen to that one. It's going to be valuable. I promise you, it's worth your time. It is under 30 minutes. So you can listen to it cooking. You can listen to taking a shower. You can listen to on your drive to work. It is sub 30 minutes. So practical information to lead to transformation. So today we're going to be talking about the law of activity, and let's just jump into it, right? Our job as a communicator is not to just impress people, but to impact them. I'll say that again. Our job as communicators are not to impress people, but to impact them. Our job as well is not to just try to convince them, but try to change them. And when we speak, when we communicate with one another, when we have a conversation, our conversation should drive inspiration that leads to transformation. I'll say that again. Our conversations as educators should drive inspiration that leads to transformation. And it's empowering language. It's empowering attitude. It's your energy. It's not just what we say. It's how we say it. It's the energy and how we say it. It's when we make that eye connection or we make the lack of it, right? So the question we should be asking ourselves all the time as educators, am I communicating to inspire, or am I communicating to destroy, right? And if it's not anything inspirational, inspiring, and the word inspiration, inspire means to breathe life, Are we breathing life when we speak to our students, to our parents, to our friends, to the people around us? And you're probably saying, okay, David, I get that. Thank you for being super high level with me. What's the point of this? The point of it is it comes down to a simple formula. And the formula is so simple, right? We're talking about simplicity, right? The prophet Sharman has one of the greatest quotes. It says, less is more. So we're going to keep our formula simple. And the simple formula is maximum involvement equals maximum learning. What? I just tuned in just to hear that. Maximum involvement equals maximum learning. Oh, if teaching was only telling people what to do, I would have the greatest kids of all time, right? Because they would need to know, they would know everything they need to know, right? And as a parent, you understand this. If you're a parent, you get this. If you're an educator, you understand it. And a leader, you get this, right? When you tell somebody you're supposed to do something a certain way and they're like, I know. Right. And I remember my mother would always how many times did I have to tell you not to do this? I would respond back, I don't know. How many times did I have to tell you not to do this? And I would respond, I don't know. So the law of activity is maximum learning is always the result of maximum involvement. right? You can't get maximum learning without maximum involvement. The students, the learners, they have to be included into the conversation. They have to be included in the learning process. And teaching activity is never the end result. It's the means to an end. It's the means to an end. It's the vehicle that gets the kids to their destination. And my encouragement to all educators right now, right, especially during this time, right, we're still recovering from COVID, and there's not a lot of hope of if things are going to go back to the way they used to be. And that can be discouraging. I just want to remind you of why you said yes to being in education. I want to remind you of your purpose. I want to encourage you as well that what you're doing, you're not just impacting one child's life. And if you lead a classroom of more, or if you're an admin who leads an entire school, you're not just leading your school. You're leading generations of generations of generations that will outlive all of us. So know that your investment today and to the lives of the people you serve, the learners, are going to change the world. They're going to change lives for generations to come. So the seed that you're planting now, it's a long-term seed. It's not a short-term seed. And I know we can look at the news. We can look at what's going on social media. We can listen to podcasts that frightens us, that makes us think of everything that we should be afraid of. But I want to encourage your faith right now. So that's my encouragement to all educators. Keep on fighting. Don't stop. Keep on fighting. That's my encouragement to parents. Your kids need you. They want to see, how does someone persevere in the face of adversity? To the leaders, with jobs closing, people are sick, keep on persevering. You are making a difference. So I'm done with that little encouragement, but it's really a heart piece. I was part of a committee recently, and they were talking about creating programs for personal development. And I think personal development is amazing, right? I read books all the time. I listen to podcasts. I listen to the YouTube, right? To the YouTube. I'm a millennial. I just said to the YouTube. I'm getting old. But I think all those things are great. But one of the questions I asked was, what are we doing for the social emotional support for our teachers and our educators? Because teachers are leaving the industry like faster than ever, like clockwork. People are retiring, people are leaving, people are giving their keys away. They're saying, I'm done because this is not what I signed up for. And the response took me back a little bit. What he responded was like, I don't see how it's related to what we're doing. You know, we want to focus on personal development. They need to get their continuing education, right? And we'll talk more about just focusing on one side of the teacher, one side of the learner. But it's the whole piece, right? It's the encouragement. And that's my little soapbox. And it makes me think about back in 2020, I was working this job, and it paid a decent wage, right? It was decent. I had guaranteed hours. It was stable, the traditional 8 to 5, like literally 8 a.m. I punch in, 5 p.m. I punch out. And I had an hour lunch or 30-minute lunch, depending on what time I came. And there was an opportunity to get promotion and stable income, but I realized I wasn't good at the job, first and foremost, right? It was an administrative role, and I'm not gifted at Excel at all, right? It was bad. But one day I asked myself, what is the point of this job? Why am I doing this? Why the hell am I waking up early in the morning to go to this job, and I come home and it's not bringing me any closer to my purpose? I talked to the wife. I prayed on it. I journaled. And as a result, I gave my 2 weeks and I was like, I'm done. I'm going to pursue my purpose. And that's my encouragement for you educators out there, the parents out there, leaders out there. Continue to pursue your purpose and don't forget why you started this in the first place. And what I've learned over the years about purpose is purpose pulls us forward. It pulls us. It's a natural inclination to do it, right? Work pushes us. It's like we really don't want to do this, but we have to do it. It's like eating vegetables, like we really don't want to eat it because burgers, bacon, and, pizza tastes a lot better, but we know it's better for us. So we have to do it. And if something is pushing you, it may not be your purpose, but if it's pulling you, you may be in the right place. So now we've talked about maximum involvement. We talked about purpose. We talked about maximum learning. Let's talk about 3 activities, 3 misuse activities people often say, right? As a coach, as a teacher, as a parent, as a leader. And one of them, you've probably heard this, is practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes perfect. That is what we've often said. And if you think about it, practice doesn't make perfect. It makes it permanent. And if you play basketball or football and you've been practicing for years, but you've been practicing the wrong way, it's not going to make you perfect. You're just going to practice the wrong way. You need a coach who's going to come alongside of you, who's going to be the guy from the side, who's going to tell you, okay, this is how you get your elbow up. You got to look at the rim, look at your shot going all the way through. If you're tackling, you keep your head on the outside of their body and keep your head, your chin tucked in, right? So you don't mess up your neck, right? You need that so that you can become a better athlete. And in this case, a better educator and a better student. So the more accurate statement is well-guided practice makes perfect. Well-guided practice makes perfect. Now, this is the one that I'm guilty of saying it myself. My mother ever said it and I've said it. Experience is the best teacher. My mother would say it and I would say it to my kids. I was like, you're not learning now? Oh, experience is the best teacher. Come on now. You probably said that too. But if you think about it, this is going to be an extreme. This is going to be extreme. You don't have to get hooked on drugs to understand that drugs are bad, right? The people who actually get hooked on drugs sometimes don't even know the danger it holds, right? You don't need to get hooked on crack in order to know that crack is bad, right? I've been to all my DARE classes in elementary. Drugs are bad. No drugs, right? And it's not the experience that's the best teacher. It's the evaluated experience that becomes the best teacher. So we have to evaluate our experience, right? We don't, for me, I put my hand on the stove and that was an experience, right? And I had to think about it next time. I was like, do I want to burn my hand or not? Versus just like, go put your hand on the stove again. So we have to evaluate our experience. Here's another one I'm guilty of. You may be guilty of it as well. We learn by doing. We learn by doing. And the thing that makes it all wrong is that if we learn by doing and we're doing it the wrong way, then we're learning the wrong way, right? And I have a coworker that I've been saying her name incorrectly for a very long time, right? English is my second language, so I'm just going to say that now. So if you hear some broken English or me not pronouncing things as I should, English is my second language, French is my first language. So I've been pronouncing her name wrong. I've been calling her Trace, and that's 3 in Spanish. How you spell her name is Treece. Like the first 3, the first couple of letters is tree, all right? At least I could say tree. I was saying trace. And then the CE was